Hey everyone, and welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to be looking into blockchain,
Okay.
but with a bit of a different angle.
Right.
So basically, the listener wants to know, like, what can blockchain do besides cryptocurrency?
Okay. Yeah.
And they've pointed us to this website, indigosystems.io,
It is.
as a place to start.
Yeah, okay.
Which is cool because Indigo Systems is all about research and development. So
Right.
we're not going to be, talking about investing or anything. We're just trying to understand, like, what's possible.
Yeah, what blockchain can really do.
Exactly. And trust me, some of the stuff they're working on,
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, it's really interesting to see how people are trying to use blockchain
Yeah.
to actually solve real world problems.
Oh, sure.
Not just like create the next Bitcoin.
Right. Exactly. So let's unpack this a little bit.
Sure.
What exactly is Indigo Systems?
Right.
Their website talks a lot about, like, collaboration and creating a more secure and transparent and decentralized world.
Yeah, I think, they're really trying to build a future where blockchain empowers people,
Okay.
individuals and communities,
Yeah.
to create a more equitable
Mm.
and trustworthy digital landscape.
I get that, but like most people, when they hear blockchain, they immediately think of cryptocurrency.
Right.
So how does Indigo Systems kind of move beyond that?
Well, one area they're exploring is voting systems.
Okay.
Like, think about it. Every vote becomes a block
Mm-hmm.
added to this unalterable chain,
Okay.
creating a permanent and tamper-proof record.
So, like, no more hanging chads or
Exactly.
questions about whether votes were counted accurately?
Yeah, it could like totally revolutionize
Wow.
how we conduct elections.
Yeah.
Bring a whole new level of trust and transparency to the entire process.
Right.
And here's where it gets really interesting is it could even enhance voter privacy,
Okay.
which is a big concern for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. So that completely changes my understanding of how elections could work.
Yeah.
But, like, how do they even begin to apply blockchain to something as complex as voting?
It's all about leveraging those core properties of blockchain.
Okay.
The immutability, the transparency, the security.
Mm-hmm.
Each vote is essentially a transaction
Okay.
that's cryptographically secured and added to the chain.
Gotcha.
Making it virtually impossible to manipulate.
So it's like a digital fingerprint for every single vote.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
That's incredible. But let's shift gears for a second.
Okay.
Indigo Systems also talks about something called decentralized finance, or DeFi.
Yes.
Can you break that down for me?
DeFi is basically a financial system built on a decentralized network.
Okay.
And it uses blockchain to cut out those traditional intermediaries like banks.
So instead of me going through a bank to get a loan,
Right.
I could potentially access financial services directly through a blockchain-based platform.
Exactly. And that's where this whole idea of greater access to financial services comes in. DeFi removes those traditional barriers to entry, like credit checks or even geographical limitations.
Yeah.
This could be really transformative for underserved communities
Sure is.
who've been excluded from the traditional financial system.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like we're talking about
Yeah.
a very fundamental shift
Yeah.
in how we even think about finance.
Absolutely. It's about empowering individuals,
Yeah,
creating a more inclusive and accessible financial landscape.
for sure. And it goes beyond just access, right?
It does.
DeFi also has the potential to promote transparency
Yeah.
and create more affordable and flexible financial products.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got blockchain for voting, blockchain for finance.
Yeah.
The thing that really surprised me was seeing that Indigo Systems is also looking at blockchain
Yeah.
for philanthropy.
It's interesting.
It seems so out of left field.
Yeah, it might seem kind of counterintuitive at first,
Yeah.
but the characteristics of blockchain actually align.
Surprisingly well with the needs of the philanthropic sector.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
All right.
Explain how this would even work.
Imagine being able to track your donation
Okay.
on an immutable ledger,
Yeah.
seeing exactly where your money goes
Mhm.
and how it's being used.
So no more wondering if your contribution is actually making a difference.
Exactly. Blockchain brings that radical transparency to charitable giving.
Right.
It builds trust between donors and organizations.
Right.
And it goes beyond just transparency.
Yeah.
Blockchain can also improve accountability
Mhm.
by ensuring that donations are used for their intended purpose.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be a game changer, but how do you actually guarantee that the money is being used correctly?
That's where these things called smart contracts come in.
Okay.
These are like self-executing contracts
Mm-hmm.
on the blockchain
Okay.
that can automate the entire donation process.
Gotcha.
So imagine a donation contract
Okay.
that automatically releases funds to a charity.
Once they've achieved a specific milestone,
Okay.
like providing a certain number of meals or building a well.
So that would eliminate a lot of oversight and administrative costs.
Exactly. It streamlines the whole process.
Wow.
Reduces overhead,
Yeah.
ensures that those funds reach the beneficiaries directly and efficiently.
This is really making me rethink how charitable giving could work.
It's exciting stuff.
Okay, so we've covered voting, finance, and philanthropy.
Yep.
What other rabbit holes is Indigo Systems going down?
Well, let's move on to where blockchain's reputation really shines.
Okay.
Cybersecurity.
Yes, the unhackable ledger.
Right.
But how are they applying that to the digital world? I mean, it's not like blockchain can stop someone from clicking on a phishing link.
It's not about stopping individual actions.
Oh,
It's about fundamentally changing how we secure our data and our interactions.
Okay.
So take digital identity management, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, our online identities are kind of scattered across all these different platforms,
Right.
which makes us super vulnerable to data breaches.
Yeah.
Blockchain offers a way to create a single, secure,
Okay.
and self-sovereign digital identity.
Okay, wait, self-sovereign.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand what that means.
Think of it like you having a digital vault
Okay.
that you control.
Mm.
All your personal information is stored on the blockchain,
Okay.
and you decide what you share with who and for what purpose.
So no more companies collecting and selling my data without my consent.
Right. You're in the driver's seat.
So if I need to verify my identity to like open a bank account or vote, I could just use this blockchain-based ID.
Exactly. It becomes this secure and tamper-proof way to manage your whole digital presence.
Okay.
It's like a digital passport that streamlines your online interactions
Right.
and gives you way more control over your own personal data.
That's a huge step forward in terms of online security and privacy.
It is.
But what about the more like everyday stuff? Like how can blockchain make my emails or messages more secure?
That's where blockchain's encryption capabilities come in.
Okay.
Indigo Systems is exploring how to use blockchain for secure messaging and file sharing, making communication virtually unbreakable.
Hold on. So that means no more worrying about my emails being intercepted or my files being tampered with?
Exactly. You could send sensitive information,
Oh.
confidential documents with complete confidence,
Yeah.
knowing that they can only be accessed by the intended recipient.
That would be a game changer for businesses, governments, even just like keeping in touch with family.
Right.
But doesn't all this encryption make things slower? Like, doesn't it take a lot of processing power to secure everything with blockchain?
It's a trade-off for sure.
Yeah.
But remember, technology is constantly evolving.
Right.
Developers are finding new ways to optimize blockchain for speed and efficiency.
Okay.
Plus, the peace of mind that comes with knowing your data is truly secure is a pretty valuable benefit.
I see your point. Okay, so blockchain can protect my identity,
Right.
my messages, my files.
Mm.
What about the physical world? Where does something like supply chain management fit into all of this?
That's another area where blockchain's transparency and traceability are incredibly valuable.
Okay.
Think about being able to track a product's journey from its origin all the way to the consumer, ensuring authenticity and preventing fraud.
So you're saying no more fake designer handbags or counterfeit pharmaceuticals?
Exactly. Every step of the process is recorded on the blockchain,
Wow.
creating this transparent and accountable system.
Yeah.
You could trace a product from the sourcing of the raw materials to the delivery of the final product,
Okay.
knowing exactly where it came from, who handled it, and when.
So if I buy a bottle of wine, I could see where the grapes were grown,
Yeah,
how it was made, how it was shipped.
exactly.
That's kind of cool, actually.
It is, and it goes beyond just verifying authenticity.
Okay.
Blockchain can also be used to ensure compliance with regulations, like making sure that products meet safety standards
Right.
or are sourced ethically.
Uh-huh.
So consumers could have much greater confidence in the products they buy,
Gotcha.
knowing they're getting what they paid for.
Okay, before my head explodes from all this, can we just take a step back for a second?
Sure.
This is a lot to take in.
It is.
We've covered so much ground already.
Yeah.
Voting, finance, philanthropy, cybersecurity, supply chains.
Yeah, we have.
It feels like blockchain could touch nearly every aspect of our lives.
It really could, and it's all thanks to those unique properties of blockchain technology.
Right.
Its immutability, its transparency, its security.
let's be real, this is still a relatively new technology, right?
It is.
There must be some challenges to overcome before blockchain can truly reach its full potential.
You're absolutely right. There are definitely some technical and societal hurdles to address.
Okay.
But that's what makes this so exciting.
Right.
We're on the frontier of something truly revolutionary.
Yeah.
And Indigo Systems is leading the charge in exploring these possibilities.
Oh, I'm hooked. Let's dive deeper into
Sure.
some of these challenges and see how they're being addressed.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest challenges facing blockchain right now is scalability.
Scalability.
Yeah,
Okay, so like trying to fit a whole city's worth of traffic onto a single lane road.
exactly.
I can see how that would be a problem.
Yeah, when too many transactions happen at once on a blockchain network, things can slow down.
Right.
Fees can go up. It's a bit like rush hour for data.
Okay, so how do you solve that? Do you just like build a bigger blockchain highway?
It's not quite that simple.
Okay.
But researchers are working on a bunch of different approaches.
Mm-hmm.
Some involve optimizing the way transactions are processed.
Okay.
Others focus on creating new types of blockchain architectures that can handle a higher volume of activity.
So it's like finding ways to make the data flow more smoothly and efficiently.
Exactly. There's some really brilliant minds working on this problem.
Yeah.
I'm confident they'll come up with some innovative solutions.
Okay.
Another challenge is interoperability.
Okay, back up for a second.
Sure.
What exactly do you mean by interoperability?
So right now, different blockchain networks operate in silos.
Okay.
They can't easily communicate or share information with each other.
So it's like trying to send a text message from an iPhone to an Android phone.
That's a good analogy.
Sometimes it works, but sometimes it just doesn't go through.
Right, and that limits the potential of blockchain because it prevents this seamless interaction
Right.
between different applications and platforms.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could use your blockchain-based digital identity
Mm-hmm.
to access services across different networks,
Okay.
or if you could easily transfer funds between different DeFi platforms.
So it sounds like we need a universal translator for blockchain.
Exactly.
Is anyone working on that?
Developers are creating these things called bridges between different blockchains to allow for smoother communication and data exchange.
Gotcha.
It's still early days, but it's a crucial step towards unlocking the full potential of blockchain technology.
Okay, so we've got the technical challenges for payer. But what about the human side of things?
Yeah.
Are people ready to embrace blockchain? I mean, it still feels like a pretty complex and intimidating concept.
You're right. There's definitely a learning curve
Yeah,
and a need for more education and awareness.
for sure.
A lot of people still associate blockchain with cryptocurrency
Right.
and its volatility,
Yeah.
and they might be hesitant to trust their money or data to something they don't fully understand.
So how do we bridge that gap? How do we make blockchain more accessible and understandable to the average person?
It's all about education
Okay.
and demonstrating the real-world benefits.
Mm-hmm.
We need to move beyond the technical jargon.
Right.
Explain blockchain in simple, relatable terms.
Yeah.
The more people understand how blockchain works and the potential it has to improve their lives, the more likely they are to embrace it.
It seems like Indigo Systems is trying to do that with their website.
They are.
They're not just talking about the technical details. They're showcasing how blockchain can be applied to solve real problems in areas like voting, finance, philanthropy.
Exactly. It's about showing, not just telling.
Right.
The more we can highlight those tangible benefits of blockchain,
Yeah.
the more people will see its value and want to be part of this revolution.
Okay, so we need to educate people.
Yes.
But what about the issue of trust?
Okay.
I mean, blockchain is all about decentralization,
Right.
which means there's no central authority controlling things.
Yeah.
So how do you build trust in a system where there's no one in charge?
That's a great question. It's important to remember that trust in blockchain isn't based on a single entity,
Okay.
but on the underlying technology itself.
Okay.
The cryptographic algorithms and consensus mechanisms that power blockchain
Mm-hmm.
create a system that's inherently secure and transparent.
So instead of trusting a bank or a government,
Right.
you're trusting the technology itself.
Exactly. And that trust is earned through the track record of blockchain security and reliability.
Okay.
The more blockchain is used and proven to be effective, the more trust it will generate.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But even if people trust the technology, what about the potential for misuse? I mean, blockchain is often associated with the dark web and illicit activities. How do you prevent blockchain from being used for bad things?
It's important to remember that blockchain is a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad purposes.
Right.
The challenge is to create a regulatory framework
Mm-hmm.
that encourages innovation while mitigating the risks.
Okay.
This involves things like KYC and AML regulations,
Okay.
which are already being implemented in many jurisdictions.
So it's about finding a balance between promoting the benefits of blockchain
Right.
while also protecting against its potential downsides.
Precisely. It's a complex issue,
Yeah.
but it's one that needs to be addressed as blockchain becomes more widely adopted.
Okay, so we've talked about the technical challenges, the need for education, the issue of trust, the potential for misuse. What else do we need to consider as blockchain continues to evolve?
Well, one important aspect is the environmental impact. Some blockchain networks, particularly those that use a proof-of-work consensus mechanism,
Right.
consume a lot of energy.
Yeah,
This is a valid concern,
for sure.
and it's something that developers are working to address.
So it's like the blockchain equivalent of gas-guzzling cars. We need to find more sustainable options.
We do. There are already blockchain networks that use more energy-efficient consensus mechanisms,
Okay.
like proof of stake.
Mm-hmm.
And developers are constantly exploring new ways to reduce the environmental footprint of blockchain technology.
That's good to hear. I mean, if blockchain is going to change the world,
Right.
it needs to be done in a way that's sustainable for the planet.
Absolutely. And that brings up another important point.
Okay.
The ethical implications of blockchain.
Okay, now we're getting into some really deep waters.
We are.
What kind of ethical considerations are we talking about?
As with any transformative technology, there are a lot of ethical questions to consider. Like, for example, how do we ensure that blockchain is used to create a more equitable and inclusive society
Right.
rather than exacerbating existing inequalities?
Yeah.
How do we balance the need for privacy and security with the potential for surveillance and control?
Yeah, that's a big one.
These are just a few of the ethical challenges that we need to grapple with
Right.
as blockchain continues to evolve.
It sounds like we need to have some serious conversations
We do.
about the values and principles that will guide the development and deployment of blockchain technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to be thoughtful and intentional about how we use this powerful tool.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that blockchain is much more than just a technology.
It is.
It's a social and political force
Right.
that has the potential to reshape our world in some very profound ways.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's up to all of us to ensure that blockchain is used to create a better future for everyone.
Well, that's a pretty tall order.
It is.
But I have to admit, I'm feeling inspired. Indigo Systems' website has really opened my eyes to the possibilities of blockchain.
It's exciting stuff.
I'm starting to see how it could truly revolutionize the way we live, work, and interact with each other.
It's an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah.
We're on the cusp of a technological revolution, and blockchain is at the forefront. I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Me too, but before we get too carried away,
Okay.
let's take a closer look at some of the specific ways that Indigo Systems is using blockchain to address these challenges and opportunities.
Sure.
We've talked a lot about the big picture,
Yeah.
but I'm curious to see how these ideas are being put into practice.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Hmm.
Let's dive back into their website and see what else we can uncover.
Okay, so we've really gone deep on like the potential of blockchain.
Yeah,
It's a lot to process.
it is.
But if Indigo Systems is like betting on this future, they must have some thoughts of how to get there.
Right?
What are they actually doing to address these challenges
Yeah.
and build that future?
That's where their focus on research and development really comes in.
Okay.
They're not just waiting around for solutions to appear.
Right.
They're actively working on them.
Give me an example.
Sure.
What's a concrete problem they're tackling?
We'll take the scalability issue we discussed.
Okay.
Indigo Systems is experimenting with something called sharding.
Sharding.
Yeah.
That sounds like something out of a fantasy novel.
It does kind of.
Break it down for me.
Basically, imagine breaking a giant database into smaller chunks
Okay.
or shards
Mm-hmm.
instead of every computer on the network processing every single transaction.
Right.
They only handle the ones that are relevant to their shard.
Okay, so it's like dividing the workload
Exactly.
to speed things up.
Yeah.
Sense.
It's a way to increase transaction speeds and lower costs,
Right.
which makes blockchain more practical for everyday use.
That's clever. What about interoperability?
Yeah.
That whole walled garden problem between different blockchains?
So Indigo Systems is actually involved in several cross-chain projects.
Okay.
Think of them as like building bridges between different blockchain networks.
So instead of each blockchain being like a separate island,
Right.
they're becoming part of a connected archipelago.
Exactly. This allows for seamless data transfer and communication between different platforms and applications.
Right.
It opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Okay, so those are the technical hurdles. But what about the human side?
Yeah.
How is Indigo Systems addressing that need for blockchain education?
Well, they're taking a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
First, the website is designed to be accessible and informative,
Yeah.
even for blockchain newbies.
It's true. I found their website really easy to navigate
Right.
and understand. They actually explain things in plain English.
Exactly. They also run workshops and webinars
Okay.
to educate the public and developers about blockchain technology and its potential.
That's smart. Demystifying the tech makes it less intimidating and more appealing.
Yeah. And they're also actively engaging with policymakers
Okay.
to help shape regulations that promote responsible innovation in the blockchain space.
So they're not just building the technology, they're also thinking about how it will fit into the larger world.
Exactly. They understand that for blockchain to truly thrive,
Yeah.
it needs a supportive ecosystem,
Right.
from the technology itself to the people who use it to the rules that govern it.
This all sounds very optimistic, but are there any potential downsides to blockchain
Sure.
that Indigo Systems is considering?
Of course. They're very aware of the ethical considerations.
Okay, like what?
For example, ensuring that blockchain is used to promote equity and inclusion, not exacerbate existing disparities.
So thinking about things like access to technology,
Yeah.
digital literacy,
Mhm.
making sure that the benefits of blockchain are shared broadly?
Exactly. They're also working on privacy-enhancing technologies
Okay.
to address concerns about data security and surveillance on
yeah.
blockchain platforms.
Because even though blockchain is secure, there's still the question of who has access to that data
Right.
and how it's used.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're actively researching ways to mitigate the environmental impact of blockchain,
Okay.
exploring more energy-efficient consensus mechanisms and sustainable practices.
So it sounds like they're really trying to think holistically about the impact of blockchain, not just focusing on the technological aspect.
Exactly. They understand that for blockchain to be a truly transformative force for good,
Yeah.
it needs to be developed and deployed responsibly, ethically, and sustainably.
Well, I gotta say, this deep dive into Indigo Systems has been incredibly eye-opening.
Good.
They're not just building technology, they're building a future.
It's inspiring to see a company that's not just chasing profits,
Right.
but really trying to make a real difference in the world.
And it sounds like they're taking a very thoughtful
Yeah.
and comprehensive approach.
They are?
They're tackling the technical challenges, the social implications, the ethical considerations.
Yep. The whole package.
So where does this leave us, the listeners?
Yeah.
What should we take away from all of this?
I think the key takeaway is that blockchain is more than just a buzzword
Okay.
or a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
It's a really powerful technology with the potential to revolutionize countless aspects of our lives,
Yeah.
from how we vote to how we manage our finances to how we protect our data.
But it's not a magic bullet.
No.
There are challenges to overcome.
Right.
And important questions to address.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's up to all of us developers, policymakers,
Yeah.
everyday citizens to engage in these conversations about blockchain,
Yeah.
to demand responsible development,
Mm-hmm.
and to make sure that this technology is used to create a more equitable, sustainable, and prosperous future.
For everyone. For everyone. It sounds like we have a role to play,
We do.
not just as passive observers,
Right?
but as active participants in shaping the future of blockchain.
Absolutely. The future is not something that happens to us. It's something we create.
Wow.
And blockchain is one of the most powerful tools we have to shape that future.
This has been an incredible deep dive into Indigo Systems
Yeah, it has.
and the world of blockchain. Thank you for guiding us through this complex and fascinating landscape.
It's been my pleasure. I hope this has inspired our listeners to learn more about blockchain
Yeah.
and to join the conversation about its potential and its implications.
And a big thank you to you, our listener, for sharing your curiosity
Yes.
and for taking this deep dive with us.
Thank you.
We encourage you to visit indigosystems.io
Please do.
and continue exploring this exciting world.
It is exciting.
Until next time, keep diving.
Keep diving.